Welcome to all the third semester students of Bangalore City University, and our subject is Business Regulation. In this video, we will be discussing about classification of contract under Contract Law Unit 1. Learning objective of business regulation is to introduce the students to various business regulations and to familiarize them with common issues of relevance. In this session, we will be introducing different kinds of contracts and its relevance to the students. Now, let us have a look at classification of contracts. According to Section 2H of Indian Contract Act, the term contract is defined as an agreement enforceable by law. Further, according to Section 10, all agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are hereby expressly declared to be void. Contracts can be broadly classified under three major heads, that is based on their validity, based on their performance, and based on their formation. Now, at first, let us have a look at classification of contracts on the basis of formation. Under this classification, we have three different types. First and foremost is express contract. An express contract is expressly made in writing or orally. Such contracts or agreements are known as express contracts. When all the terms of the contracts are expressed in detail, it is said to be express contract. Example, when A announces he intends to sell his bike for 20,000 rupees and B accepts the offer and informs the same to A, such contract is called as express contract. Second is implied contract. Any agreement which is not expressly made in writing or orally with respect to its terms and content, but however it is enforceable by law. Such contracts are known as implied contracts. Example, after consultation with a dentist, the patient is obligated to pay the fee even if not informed beforehand. Next is quasi-contract. It is not an actual contract, but it resembles one. This contract is formed under certain circumstances. However, it enforces legal rights and obligations when no real contract, that is either written or orally, exists. Such contracts is known as quasi-contracts. Now, let us look at the another classification of contract, that is based on validity or enforceability. Under this classification, we have five different types of contracts. First being valid contract. An agreement which is binding and enforceable by law and contains all the essential elements of a valid contract is known as valid contract. Second, void contract. Any agreement which is not enforceable by law or doesn't contain any of the essential elements of a valid contract Such contracts are known as void contracts. Example, a contract A contracts with B for supply of 20 tons of wheat, but before execution of contract, the warehouse caught fire, destroying the wheat. Here, the contract becomes void. Contract. The last type of contract is unenforceable contract. Any agreement which contains all the valid essential elements but due to some technical shortcomings cannot be executed is known as unenforceable contract. Now, the last type of classification is based on the performance. Under this, we have four types of contracts. The first being executed contract. When both the parties, that is, offerer and offeree, have executed their respective obligations, that is, paying consideration and performing the promised act respectively, is known as executed contract. Example, when a grocer sells rice on cash payment, such contract is known as executed contract. The second type of contract is executory contract. Here, the obligation which is serves as consideration is performed at a later time. The next type of contract is unilateral contract. In this contract, one party has completed or satisfied his obligation and is awaiting the other party to carry out his obligation. Such contracts are known as unilateral contracts. The last type of contract is bilateral contract. When both the parties have completed their obligation satisfactorily, such contract is known as bilateral contract. These are the different types of classification of contracts.